Yes guys, what's going on? So it's Sham here from Be Real TV and I'm joined by my boy
Tstreet Controversy Live. And what we're going to be doing is, as we said, what we're going to be doing, basically to gauge fan interest and to see, where the logic is of fans on an international scale is we're going to talk about boxing. So in this video, basically, we're going to talk about what everyone's talking about, but something different than what you've been than what you've seen before, as far as talking about Floyd Manny Mayweather 47-0 with 26 knockouts versus Emmanuel Manny Pacquiao 57-5 with 38 KOs. What is he has? 3 draws, 2 draws. Right now, I got to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to tell you straightforward. I got Manny Pacquiao. I'm not going to say by knockout. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to say that it is possible. And I understand. I completely understand that there's going to be people that are going to say, oh, how are you going to pick Manny Pacquiao to knock Floyd out when Manny Pacquiao is still asleep? But in this video, what we want you to do is we want you to open up your minds and we want you to understand that it's just our opinions. So therefore, you wouldn't have a guy like Floyd Mayweather making $180 million and then Manny Pacquiao $120 million plus if it was just an easy fight for Floyd Mayweather. So let's just get that out of there right now. Now, first, what I'm going to start off is, I'm going to basically start off with 3 points. And then, I'm going to turn it over to my man, Be Real TV here. And then we're going to see basically to try to get fans to understand that, okay, this is when you have to test what you know about boxing. We're going to have to talk about the speed. We're going to have to talk about the endurance. We're going to have to talk about the punching power. We're going to have to talk about the punch variety, ring generalship, and there's so many factors that now I'm finally glad that I can actually talk about it now that all the politics and the fight is done and all that type of stuff. So right now, as I said, I got Manny Pacquiao, and I'm going to keep it brief. 3 points. I got Manny Pacquiao punching power. I got Manny Pacquiao in speed, and I got Manny Pacquiao in ring generalship. And I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I know people's going to think like, this guy must be Filipino on the inside. This guy's crazy. But I'm going to turn it over to Sham from Be Real TV. Please subscribe to both channels. I'm Tstreet Controversy with RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. Go ahead, my man. What's on your mind?
So the first thing is this, that you mentioned speed, you mentioned power, you mentioned ring generalship. But you see, in boxing, it's I've always been told this since I was very young. I've spoke to multiple trainers, and this is very true, that the more technical fighter, the person who has a sharper brain, will beat the fighter who has more raw ability. In this case, clearly it is Floyd Mayweather Jr. who has a sharper brain. But I mean, we look at fighters who were better boxers in the past and how they did in terms of their brain and how they were thinking fighters. And I think a recent fight that comes to mind was Marcus Maidana versus Adrian Broner. When Adrian Broner, who was supposed to be the better boxer out of the two, faced Marcus Maidana, he was overwhelmed by Marcus Maidana, and Maidana put him to the ropes, tagged him several times in the fight, and beat him on a landslide, on a unanimous decision. But you see, this is Floyd Mayweather Jr. we're talking about, and what's on people's minds is this, that although Mayweather Jr. is the smarter fighter, and maybe he doesn't have as much power as Pacquiao, maybe he doesn't even have the speed of Pacquiao, Mayweather Jr., he's a much smarter fighter who makes far less mistakes. And then people are split here. Some people are thinking that Mayweather Jr. is going to win by a very, very large margin. Some people think it's going to be a close fight. And some people think that Manny Pacquiao will win in a close fight. But you see, there's very, very few people who are going for Manny Pacquiao by a landslide. And there's good reason for that. Mayweather Jr., whoever he's gone up against, he's beaten. But of recent, we've seen Mayweather Jr. schooling opponents. But then more recently, we saw him struggle against Marcus Maidana. But you see, Manny Pacquiao is no Marcus Maidana. Marcus Maidana carries a lot more weight. He's a much heavier guy, a much bigger guy with more punching power. But Manny Pacquiao is a different style. He's Southpaw. He's fast. He's more experienced. He's got better footwork, and just overall a totally different fighter to Marcus Maidana. But here's the thing: Mayweather Jr. always adapts. No matter how much pressure he is under, he always adapts, and you can't take that away from Floyd. But I still think that sometimes in boxing, it just so happens that the fighter you're fighting, you can be mentally superior to that person, but if that person's got more raw talent than you in terms of speed, in terms of power, and I'm not saying that this has always been the case. I think Mayweather Jr. a few years ago would have beat Manny Pacquiao, but I think this Mayweather Jr. that we're seeing right now is a different Mayweather to one that we saw against Guerrero. I think Mayweather Jr. in his few years, you know, it just takes a month or two and the fighter can age, and I really feel like this Mayweather Jr. who's fighting Manny Pacquiao is a little bit older, because, I mean, since when have we seen Mayweather Jr.? I mean, if Mayweather Jr. fought Marcus Maidana instead of Miguel Cotto them few years back, would Mayweather Jr. have got caught with that flush punch that he got caught with in the second fight? Would of what happened in the first fight happen to him when he fought Miguel Cotto? I don't think so. So, I'm going to swing it back to you, but I just think that Mayweather Jr. needs a little bit more credit. I think he's a good fighter, an excellent fighter. But I just think that at this age, at this moment in time, Manny Pacquiao is looking more fresh. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. I mean, you know, let me give credit where credit is due. You know, me, I'm a boxing fan. So one fight, I may be very, very critical of a boxer. And then the next fight, it may seem as though that I may not like the boxer, or I may be, you know, in some type of love fest. You know, a heterosexual love fest with the boxer, but at the same time, I have to give credit where credit is due. So, for example, you know, now just to jump off subject a little bit before I go back to Mayweather, you got Robert Guerrero versus Keith Thurman coming up in just in just a couple of days, and with that fight, even though Keith Thurman is undefeated, still I can't give him the credit for being good and great until after or if he defeats Robert Guerrero. The same thing with Floyd Mayweather. Now, you have to give credit where credit is due. Floyd Mayweather is very smart, and for him to do what he did against Marcos Maidana and died 600 plus punches while he was on the ropes in a stationary position, you have to give credit to that. But I ask myself, I say, would a guy like Pacquiao, who has been knocked out, who has been defeated in the worst possible way you can be defeated, he was knocked out cold, humiliated. What can Floyd Mayweather do to Manny Pacquiao that has not already been done? So that's the question I'm asking, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right. Floyd Mayweather is a genius when it comes to in the ring. He does have the ability to still move when he chooses to. Now, this is a 38-year-old man who's going to be stepping into the ring on May the 2nd, 2015. But does he have the power still to stop a Manny Pacquiao in his tracks? Can he muster up something harder than Timothy Bradley did again? Now, I understand. Let me just pause for a minute and say I understand that fans are going to say, well, you hear sparring partners and everyone says that Floyd Mayweather hits harder than you really think. And I understand all of that. But at the same time, when you look at the faces of Manny Pacquiao opponents, and when you look at the faces and the state of the faces of Floyd Mayweather opponents, I ask myself, well, sparring partners and these people before the fight may say he hits a lot harder than you think. But then you look at these guys after the fight, you know, they may say, oh, yeah, you know, his power is respectable. But then you'll see him on an interview somewhere else on a YouTube channel or something like, yeah, he really doesn't have any power. Why? The orthopedic gloves. Now, you know, before I turn it back over to Be Real TV, what I want to say is I'm wondering if Floyd Mayweather, now, if he can go back, if he didn't do it for Robert Guerrero, if he didn't do it for Saul Canelo Alvarez, if he didn't do it for Marcos Maidana the first fight or Marcos Maidana the second fight, if he can go back to being pretty boy Floyd Mayweather just for one night, pretty boy Floyd Mayweather Jr. just for one night, and understand what I'm saying, then he can beat Pacquiao. And that means a guy who's not afraid to hurt his hand because he has a Showtime obligation, you know, to fight twice a year. That's a guy who knows that, well, you know, he's been knocked out by Marquez. I beat Marquez now, you know, in the biggest fight of my career, you know, to show people that I really, that he's really nothing to me. I'm going to knock him out. For example, when Cole Frost fought George Groves the second time when he knocked him out. You know, so I'm thinking, well, why not? You know, with Floyd Mayweather known to be having brittle hand and hand issues, why not go for the knockout against Manny Pacquiao? If you hurt your hand and you got to be out for a year, why not go for it? You know, that's all I'm saying. You know, so I give Floyd a chance only if Pretty Boy shows up. That's it. Money May, no. Money May doesn't beat Pacquiao, in my opinion.
You see, yo, Terrell, on that, right, I want to say that, you see, many people who feel that Mayweather Jr. is going to win feel that Floyd Mayweather is going to make the adjustment, and that Mayweather Jr. is a fighter who does what needs to be done. I mean, I cast my mind back to a fighter like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee said, I don't know if you've seen the interview, but he says, be water. He says, be water, my friend. He says, be water because water can crash. If you put water into a teacup, it becomes a teacup. So the thing is that Mayweather Jr. kind of fulfills this, that he bees whatever he needs to be. Mayweather Jr. will adapt, and many Mayweather Jr. supporters who feel that he's going to win the fight are saying this, and I think that this is why people feel that Mayweather's going to win, because he will adapt. But you see, on the flip side, there's also a lot of people who think Mayweather Jr. is just going to counterpunch Manny Pacquiao and counterpunch the hell out of him for 12 rounds, and Pacquiao's just going to be there taking it. I can't see this happening, and I think that if Mayweather Jr. decides to be Pretty Boy, and the Mayweather Jr. that fought Cotto, the Mayweather Jr. that we've seen, the more aggressive Mayweather, first of all, I think that's unlikely because he does have Floyd Mayweather Sr. in his corner. We straight away saw a significant difference in Mayweather Jr. from the Miguel Cotto fight to, was it the Robert Guerrero fight that was immediately after? Because Floyd Mayweather Sr. came into the camp and Mayweather Jr. altered his fighting style substantially, and we saw him in the Guerrero fight. He looked sharper, he looked faster. But then you've got to remember he's facing Robert Guerrero, not Miguel Cotto. When we saw him fight Miguel Cotto, it was 154 pounds. Miguel Cotto took some beats. He took some hard punches in the fight, and Mayweather Jr. really stepped on the gas. But I don't see how Mayweather Jr. is going to bring that Mayweather Jr., which was quite a few. I mean, what year was the Miguel Cotto fight in? Was it in 2012?
What, the Cotto fight? Yeah.
So, you know, that's like 3 years ago. And at this point in Mayweather Jr.'s career, 3 years is a long time. And
so, you know, and I understand what you're saying. So when you look at, you know, when you look at who he was against Miguel Cotto, you know, he didn't look sharp. But remember, they were saying, oh, Mayweather's slipping. When you look at who he was against Robert Guerrero, he was sharp, you know, looking the best he's looked in quite some time. Then you see him fight Saul Canelo Alvarez. He looks sharp, but yet we know who Saul Canelo Alvarez is, somewhat of a flat-footed fighter. You know, then what happens? He fights Marcos Maidana. He gets the big paycheck, the big payday from Saul Canelo Alvarez. And then, you know, what happens? He decides to fight the fight. He decides to fight for an entire night, basically, on the ropes against Marcos Maidana. So, you know, like you were saying, I want to believe that he can adjust, but at the same time, I'm thinking, I keep going back to the punching power. What is he going to have to stop a Manny Pacquiao who's been knocked out cold from continuously coming after him? You know, that's a genuine concern of mine. You know, especially where we have to think, you know, like you were saying, this has to be the most motivated Floyd Mayweather that we've ever seen, because he can't fight the same fight that he fought against Marcos Maidana or against Miguel Cotto. You know, he has to fight the same. He has to fight the guy. He has to fight the same way he fought against Robert Guerrero. But Robert Guerrero's no Manny Pacquiao.
But let me say this. Let me throw this in. We're talking about, is Pretty Boy Floyd going to turn up? Is the Floyd Mayweather Jr. who was under Roger Mayweather going to turn up, or is it going to be the Floyd Mayweather that we've seen in recent? And something that Mayweather Jr. brought up, and he said this, and I've heard him say it a few times now, is that Mayweather Jr. He said it to Fight Hype, and he said it to other outlets as well, that he has a longer reach. And he said that, and I'm taller than Manny Pacquiao, and he said that height and reach is not everything in boxing, but I know how to use it. So, you know, these little things I'm picking up and I'm thinking, okay, Mayweather, so you've got the extra reach against Manny Pacquiao. So, you know, I mean, we look at the Cotto fight. Was Mayweather Jr. really using his reach in that fight? Not as much as he, I don't know, could have used. I think he could have gone on the back foot and used it, but that wouldn't have been the Mayweather that we've seen recently. It's the old Mayweather. And I feel that if Mayweather Jr. is planning on using his reach and keeping... what does that mean? That means he's going to be keeping Manny Pacquiao at a distance. And using his reach on the back foot, which means that Mayweather Jr. I don't think his game plan is going to be an aggressor and to really throw some hard punches. And even if he does, and if he is the aggressor, I still struggle to see how he knocks Manny Pacquiao out. You know, because that's Manny Pacquiao's fight. I mean, if Mayweather Jr. is the aggressor, that's Manny Pacquiao's fight. Mayweather Jr. going toe to toe. I mean, he's talked about in interviews recently with Fight Hype, I think, that if I need to slug, I can slug. And I'm hearing these things that he's saying about, you know, I'm going to use my reach, and then he's saying I'm going to slug. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, are you a little bit, not afraid, but are you a little bit worried about Manny Pacquiao? Are you a little bit confused on your game plan? And I'm just thinking to myself, you know, I think Mayweather Jr. is going to go into the ring and try and figure it out and do what needs to be done. But at the same time, I think he's going to be fighting Manny Pacquiao's fight.
He does not want to slug it out with Manny Pacquiao, and Floyd can slug it out. See, he can slug it out, and you also have to factor in then, well, why not slug it out with your arch nemesis? If you want to put on a show, if you want to finally silence all the critics, that all the people that said you were afraid of Manny Pacquiao when you know he could beat you, you know. Why not try to slug it out? Maybe is what he's thinking. But then I ask myself, well, he better not slug it out. He better not try to go out there and do that with a guy that can continuously throw the same punch numerous. I mean, he can throw it, you know, continuously with the same power. And if you look at the Zab Judah fight, when Mayweather should have took his first official knockdown, when you look at the Castillo fight, the first one. When you look at the Shane Mosley fight, 3 fights brought 3 different things. Those 3 different things shown that if you put those together, you can defeat Manny Pacquiao. For example, that Southpaw in Zab Judah. You know, we saw early on Mayweather did adjust. But remember, Zab Judah didn't have the aggressiveness of a Manny Pacquiao, and he's not as good of a boxer career-wise, I'm talking about as of now, as Manny Pacquiao. And I'm talking about, you know, prime Pacquiao versus prime Zab Judah, my opinion. When you look at Shane Mosley showed us that you can really get Floyd Mayweather hurt, but when you get him hurt, you have to finish him off. And you saw with Mayweather when he tucked his head into Shane Mosley's armpit, and he was holding on to Shane Mosley's arm for dear life, to the point where Shane Mosley was literally like trying to yank his arm back. We've shown that he can be hurt and that you can finish him off. You know, also with somebody else. Oh, Chop Chop Corley. He's sparring with Chop Chop Corley, by the way. He hurt him as well. So, you know, when you look at the Shane Mosley, when you look at the when you look at Shane Mosley, when you look at Zab Judah, even if you look at Castillo and Marcos Maidana, activity. So when you think about, okay, well, does Pacquiao have the punching power? Yes. Does Pacquiao have the activity? Yes. Can Pacquiao finish you off? Yes. You know, I once talked about a term, and I still keep talking about it, and it's called aggressiveness. It's E. It's a vowel above the A. It's not aggressive. It's aggressiveness. And what that means is, when you go to that next level, to the point where if you're a boxer, you know that you're reckless. You know that there's a good chance that you're going to crash and burn because you're right there with that boxer in the corner and you're going 90 miles per hour on a curvy highway, you know, with no seatbelt. But at the same time, it's like either you make it or you don't. Aggressiveness. So I don't know. I don't know if Floyd Mayweather will be able to deal with that. There's so many different factors that play in that are from outside of the ring as well. You know, mentally, potentially Floyd Mayweather taking his first defeat. It's just, you know, it's just so many different factors. It's just so many different factors.
I think you talked about Zab Judah. I want to say that I think Zab Judah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Zab Judah was a different style fighter to Manny Pacquiao. as a boxer, I think Zab Judah was slightly better in that he didn't get tagged as much as Manny Pacquiao when he used to come in. I just think overall as a boxer, Zab Judah was better. But I think where Zab Judah lacked is in mindset and in ferociousness and in power and speed. Manny Pacquiao is obviously superior, and the footwork as well is faster and tougher than Zab Judah. So obviously Manny Pacquiao is on a different level to Zab. But I mean, something that Zab is, and it's something you said, is the Southpaw. And I've done a video called Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather, the Southpaw debate. And I just want to throw this in, that many people think that Manny Pacquiao being a southpaw is not going to make a difference, and I respectfully disagree. And the fight that I surprisingly saw that made me finally say, you know what, Manny Pacquiao being a southpaw is going to make a big difference in this fight, is the Victor Ortiz fight, and I'm going to tell you why. I watched the fight of Zab Judah on Sunday, fought DeMarcus Corley. I've seen that. I've seen the Robert Guerrero fight of recent, but the Victor Ortiz fight, you see a southpaw with fast feet. Now, Victor Ortiz has faster feet than he's given credit for. And if you watch early on in the fight, Mayweather Jr. was throwing punches and missing. The same thing that happened in the Zab Judah fight. And I think it's not just the southpaw, it's that they had footwork and were southpaws. And what it allowed them to do is boom, boom, move back and forth. And you saw Mayweather Jr. using the Philly shell early, sometimes putting it down, and struggling to adapt to that southpaw. Now, people say a southpaw is just a mirror image. It's not. It is, but for Mayweather Jr. it's not. Because Mayweather Jr., as people know, 50 to 70% of a fight for him in terms of his defense, Mayweather Jr. is known as a defensive master, right? Why? Because Mayweather Jr. has this nice Philly shell. He can just lay back on the ropes, and with the Philly shell he uses, he's able to roll this punch, block here, slip here, counter punch you. With Manny Pacquiao, he's not going to be able to do this, because I watched a video with Smitty, I think it is, where he goes through an in-ring demonstration with Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Mayweather Jr. says, throw a jab, boom, that's how you block a jab. Throw a right hand, that's what you do if someone throws a right hand. Throw an overhand right, he'll duck under it. You know, there's a remedy for everything in the Philly shell, but that's against an orthodox fighter. Now think to yourself, an orthodox fighter fights with the left hand forward, the right hand back. You throw a punch from here, here, here. It makes a hell of a difference, because the right hand is further back, the left hand is more forward. When you're fighting a southpaw, the right hand comes forward, the left hand comes back. You also have a totally different dynamic in terms of the footwork. Manny Pacquiao has a lethal right hand, and every time Mayweather Jr. is going to throw a jab, Manny Pacquiao is going to try and counterpunch that with a right hook. Totally different dynamics with a southpaw. Yeah, go on, Terrell.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be more than difficult, you know, because I just, you know, that shoulder roll that shell, it's completely good for guys like Marcos McDonough, you know, even a Miguel Cotto, you know, but a guy like Pacquiao who can use the angles, the different feints, you know, I'm trying. It's crazy because it's hard for me to say that Floyd Mayweather's the underdog. I don't know. You know, and I know people are going to think that I'm crazy. But this is not, you know, we're relying on Floyd Mayweather to use his smarts to win the fight. You know, and that's just what we got to continue to hope, you know. But we're actually like really low on time. So, you know, basically I'm going to, you know, say that I'm Tstreet Controversy. This is Tstreet Controversy Live on RealCombatMedia.com. Also soon to be joining Sky Sports Toe-to-Toe Ringside podcast with Ed Draper, Spencer Farron. I'm excited. What about you, B-Real? You got any last words?
Yeah, I just want to say regarding this fight, first of all, make sure you go to my channel as well, B-Real TV, and subscribe. Terrell, I'm sure Tstreet will put it in the description box below, and you'll probably see me commenting, and also go and definitely subscribe to Tstreet channel if you haven't already. I'm sure you have. But I just want to say that in regards to the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, it is a very close fight. I think that the southpaw thing makes a hell of a difference. People are going to point to Robert Guerrero and how Mayweather Jr. dealt with that, and he didn't even use the Philly shell. He just did it in a high guard. But I mean, if you're fighting Manny Pacquiao with a high guard, I mean, yo, that's a totally different fighter. You're looking at Mayweather Jr. is going to have to be a totally different fighter. High guard against high guard. Manny Pacquiao carries the experience of facing orthodox fighters more than Mayweather Jr. faces Southpaw.
Floyd only goes into high guard usually when his back's about to touch the ropes. Like he knocked out Ricky Hatton.
But, you know, this is Mayweather Jr. He is the pound-for-pound king. And, I mean, he could obviously beat Pacquiao. But, you know, I'm going for Pacquiao. Tstreet's going for Pacquiao. And I just think that it will be an upset. But, you know, no disrespect to Floyd Money Mayweather, TMT all day.
Tstreet controversy live.